Hi everyone, my name is Chow. I'm the founder and CEO of a local startup called Screener Technologies. Prior to this, I was a consultant with EA, Visa, and VFS. And prior to that, I was a technical experience director at Blast Radius. And it was during my time at Blast where I found a lot of the UI testing pain points, which I'll be talking about today. And I thought there must be a better way to do things. So this is basically my high-level agenda for tonight. I'll be giving a very short overview of UI testing, and then talking about current approaches. And then I'll be showing our product, which is called Screener. I'll be introducing that and giving a short demonstration of it, and how it can help, hopefully, your teams do UI testing. And then we'll do a short QA period. So I'd like to start with just the importance of UI testing. And so most of you probably know this already, but I would argue that UI testing is the most important type of testing. The UI is the window into your entire application. And so there's many types of testing, such as unit testing, integration testing that tests different parts of your application system. But when you're testing the UI, you're not only testing the front end, but you're actually testing the entire application from front to back, end to end. And so it ensures that your entire application is functioning correctly. And it also ensures that you're testing from your end user's perspective. And so you're testing the user experience and ensuring that things are designed properly, are easy to use and accessible. There's many aspects to UI testing, but I'm going to be focusing on three kind of functional implementation specific areas. And so that is testing of the UI interface, so the look and feel, ensuring that all the elements are laid out properly and are on the page. Testing the interactions and that they are responding correctly to user input. And testing of the information displayed and that is correct. Rami kind of explained a lot of this already, but UI testing and actually all types of testing have been kind of growing in complexity as technology has evolved, especially in the past few years. With web and mobile technologies constantly maturing, there's more and more UI states, there's more and more interactions to test against, there's more and more browsers and browser versions to test against, like IE8, IE9, IE10, etc. And there's more and more devices and screen sizes to test against. And this complexity is only going to grow as we move into the Internet of Things and have many different form factors to test against. The two major ways that UIs are tested today, I'll break them out into manual testing and automated testing. So there's many benefits to manual testing. So first of all, it's very simple. Anyone can do it. You basically bring up a browser and you open up your website and you start clicking away. It's comprehensive, and so you could theoretically manually test every aspect of your application. It's just obviously time consuming, but it's possible. And also manual testing adds the human element that no automation tool can do. So humans can question, is it well designed? Is it easy to use? Is it fulfilling the core intentions and the goals of your product? And I'm going to go through a simple manual testing scenario just to show how manual testing has become quite complex, especially in the past 5 years. And so imagine you're testing a very simple website. It's only 10 pages. It's static and it's responsive. But there's several browsers that you want to support, and there's several mobile devices you want to support as well across different screen sizes. And so as you can see here, we're supporting IE9, 10, the latest version of Chrome, the latest version of Firefox. We're supporting several desktop resolutions, as well as mobile browsers, as well as different mobile orientations. And so this very simple 10-page static website has suddenly gone to 180 different states that someone needs to test if they want to actually have full test coverage. And so this would take a single tester a couple hours just to run through a very simple website. On top of that, the manual tester needs to access all these different platforms, all these different browser versions, all these different physical or virtual emulated devices. They need to manually navigate and wait for each page to load. And when they're actually testing, they're basically eyeballing the UI, making sure it's correct. And so there's downsides to that, such as human fatigue, as well as just human error. And whenever code changes, what you should do is actually repeat the entire process and retest 180 states. Most of the time, that doesn't happen. Once you change code, you focus on areas that are important, or are mission critical, so you focus on the home page, the buy page, and really nothing else. And so a lot of times bugs fall through the cracks, and they end up being deployed to production, which is not what you want. And so, as most of you know, there are downsides to manual testing. It's time-consuming, it's costly, it's error-prone because there's human error as well as fatigue, which impacts quality. Retesting is very tedious, and it does not scale well. Next is automated testing. Well, there's many benefits to automated testing. It's fast, easy, and cheap to run automated tests. You can run them over and over again. They all run in the background without human intervention. So once you do have automated tests, it can save you a lot of time and money. It allows your team to gain confidence. So whenever they change code, they don't have to worry about retesting everything because they know that the automated tests will catch any bugs in existing tests quickly and efficiently. It improves accuracy, and so you never miss verifications because machines never fatigue. And it increases test coverage. So you know that you're always testing against all the different browsers, devices, and things that you have your automated tests hooked up to. But all those benefits are they only exist if you have automated tests. And so obviously it takes a lot of effort to build that out. And it depends on the size of your project, it depends on your team, and it depends on the kind of time and budget that you have to actually create automated tests for every project. And so these are kind of some typical high-level steps to get started with automated testing. So you first need to select and set up a testing framework. So some examples here are an open source framework called Selenium or a commercial framework called Test Complete. You then need to write code. And so an engineer or developer needs to do this. They need to write code that will then navigate and interact with your application and actually get to every step, every state that you want to test. And then you need to add verifications at every state. And so I'll just give you a quick example. And so one of our clients is a company called Battlefy, which is a startup here in town. And so what they've done is they actually wrote a series of Selenium tests to test their app. And this is one of the tournament pages here. And so what they do is they basically find every element on the page, and they have to verify that. And so that's at least 1 or 2 lines of code. So they verify the title, verify the game title, verify the date and the time and the number of teams. And so even on this very simple page, there's over a dozen test verifications that need to be coded. And these test verifications need to also be updated as your application changes. And so this brings me to the downsides of automated testing. So as I said before, depending on time and budget available in your projects, it is quite a heavy upfront investment of time and effort to create, set up, and maintain automated tests. It's non-trivial, so it requires test engineers to set up these tests and maintain them. And even after you do all that, there is still a gap in the test coverage. And so it will test your interactions, it will test that the information that's being displayed is correct, but it does not test the visual aspects of your user interface. And more recently, and I think someone mentioned this before, there has been different screenshot tools that have been released, one of them being Browser Stack. And so these tools basically take a series of URLs that you give it. They'll take screenshots for you in the cloud across a bunch of different browsers, resolutions, and devices. And this covers visual UI testing. But there's downsides, I think, to these tools as well. And so first of all, they take URLs, but they don't allow you to deeply interact with your application. And so these tools do not log in for you. They do not click on tabs, accordions, they open up dialog boxes. And so there's many states that they miss. They only take the initial snapshot of a page. Also, the screenshots that they provide are very poorly organized. And so say you have hundreds of screenshots that you want to take across your application. Basically, they give you a flat list. And so over time, your development team is going to kind of ignore these because it's just an overload of data. Also, regression testing is still very tedious. So every time your code changes, you still need to recheck and review all these hundreds of screenshots. And there isn't any kind of approval workflow. And so there's multiple people on your team using this tool. You need to manually communicate with them to tell them what you're checking and whether or not you approved or rejected it. These screenshot tools that exist now don't do any of that for you. And so what is the perfect scenario? Well, in my mind, the perfect scenario is basically trying to take the best of all the worlds, right? So basically take all the benefits of test automation, but have a very fast and easy setup in minutes with no coding required, cover both visual and functional UI testing, and have an organized and integrated workflow. So this is where our product comes in. Oops. I'd like to introduce our product, which is called Screener. And it is a tool to basically alleviate those pain points, which I just explained. And it is a tool to record and play back your interactions. And it does it without you having to write any code. It then captures screenshots of every UI state that you have. It then tracks changes. So basically it keeps versions of your screenshots and will then use image comparison to ensure that if any states have changed, it'll tell you exactly what has changed, where it has changed, and then allow someone to review it and approve it. It keeps a workflow of those approvals. And it tests everything across browsers, resolutions, and devices in the cloud in parallel. And so it doesn't require any setup or installation on your side. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of it now. And so when you first log into Screener, this is basically what you see. It is a reporting dashboard. It provides you an overall report on your UI under test. And it breaks down sub-reports by browser as well as by screen resolution. Basically, each of these graphs is broken down into 4 different color schemes. So the color scheme is either new. Orange means that the UI state has changed since the last time it was tested. Green means it's been accepted, and red means it's been rejected. And so this reporting dashboard is great to track, obviously, QA progress, but it's also great for team collaboration. And so if you have multiple people on your team all testing at the same time, they can quickly see what has already been tested, what has already been approved or rejected, and only focus their testing on areas that are new or changed. And so from here, I'm going to go deeper into the project. And what Screener will do is it will automatically generate a hierarchical sitemap of your entire project. And from here, all these nodes are color-coded as well to those same color schemes. And from here, you can dive into a particular page. As you can see, this is a very small sitemap. And the reason it's small is because it's for this site, which is the EA Sims portal. And the Sims portal is basically a series of single-page interfaces. It's basically a very complex single page for every version of The Sims. And so here it's taken a full-page screenshot of the home page of The Sims. And as you can see, it's very complicated. There's a lot going on. There's tabs for all the different features of the game. And then there's different packs that you can purchase. There's a media gallery to view screenshots and videos. There's a blog. There's a FAQ. There's a shop to purchase games. And this is all on one page. And so using a tool like Browser Stack is not going to capture any of these states. So what Screener will do is it will automate what a manual tester flow would be like. And so basically, if you were a manual tester, you would basically come in here and you would click on each of these tabs as they have different layouts, and you want to verify that they're correct. And so Screener will do that for you. And so on the left sidebar here, it basically shows all the different states that have been captured. And so here I'm showing one of the states. And so as you can see, it's taken a snapshot of the second tab being clicked, and it shows a different layout. What you'll also notice is that it's actually cropped the screenshot to only the area that's changed. So instead of having this huge, super long page, which is a lot of visual noise for you to test, it only shows you the area that's changed, so you can focus your testing on this one particular area. What you can also do is actually quickly traverse through all different states. And so it goes through all the different tabs, and then it opens up items in the media gallery, and then it clicks on comments and things like that. At any of these states, you can switch to different screen resolutions and see how your site responds to those screen resolutions. Also, all these states have a different status. And so here, this is a change status, and from here, you can either accept or reject. When you accept, basically, it sets this as the reference image. So next time, you'll use it as part of the image comparison. If you reject, what it does is Screener integrates into very common issue tracking systems, such as Jira. And so it'll actually generate an automatic ticket within Jira for you. It'll attach a screenshot, and it'll automatically write the reproduction steps. And so that's a lot of grunt work that testers usually do, and it takes them away from actually testing. And so with Screener, you can focus on your testing flow and continue to test without having to worry about keeping track of all these tickets. Also, as I mentioned before, Screener maintains and tracks versions of your previous screenshots. And so there's all these different tabs that show you different ways of comparing your screenshots. And so there's a two-up, which basically provides a side-by-side view of a previously approved version to your current. And so from here, we can quickly see that the content has been changing. But since this page is so large, it's difficult to see if a new UI element has been added or a new button has been added. And so this is where the diff comes in. So Screener will actually generate a visual diff, which is a composite of your current and the previously approved. And that's what's showing here. And nothing has changed, then it's completely black. What you'll also notice is that before we saw that the thumbnail images had been changing. But in this particular case, the only thing we want to test is the layout and the actual UI elements, not the content. And so what Screener can do is it can go through a normalization process. And so one of the things it can do is actually ignore areas. And so here it's ignoring all thumbnails. But another popular case is you might want to ignore all advertising, because you don't care what the advertising is. You only care about the dimensions of it and where it's placed. And so Screener can check that for you. And if you're wondering why the diff looks this way, it's because in my previously approved state, I actually told it to ignore all images. And in my current, I told it to ignore only thumbnails. And so here it's showing what the difference is, which is the hero image and the image below it. What you can also do is you can kind of do an overlay comparison. And so a better example of that will actually be through the Screener site. So basically, I use Screener to test Screener, obviously. And so here is a better example of the overlay. So basically, what it does, it overlays the previous version, the current version on top of the previous version. And so what you can do is quickly see what the changes are and see that I fixed a bug here where this was breaking, moving on to a new line. And then I fixed it as well as collapsed some of the resolutions into different rows. What you can also do is you can compare browser to browser. And so this is Chrome compared against Firefox 26. And this is Chrome compared against IE 10. And so this is good for checking to make sure that all the features in one browser are available in the other. What you can also do is upload mocks. And so this is a good way to kind of have all your reference mocks in one place and managed. And obviously this is shared across your team so that once you upload it once, everyone on the team can then access it. So one thing you might be wondering is how do you actually record tests? So I'm going to show you how to record a login script to log in actually into Screener. So basically, what I'm going to open right now is the Chrome Developer Toolbar. And there is a new extension added, which is called the Screener Recorder. And from here, you simply have a record button. You click that, it'll refresh your page. And as you can see, it's kind of synchronized to all the projects that you have available within Screener. And once this mode is set to recording, anything you click on will automatically be captured by this tool. You can then enter whatever text you want and simulate an error. Once you're ready to take a screenshot, you basically select either a cropped or a full screen screenshot. You use this picker tool to select the area that you want to crop. It automatically selects it for you, and then you give it a name, and then that's how easy it is to write a recording. Once you're done, you can basically play it back within your browser. So if you focus on up here, you can see that all the areas that it's interacting with are highlighted, and anything that it takes a screenshot of is highlighted in white. And once you're happy with it, you basically click Save to Cloud. It will then use this within the next test run within Screener, and it will run it against all the browsers that you have selected. And so to do a test run, you basically go to this builds page, you click queue a new build, and it will queue these builds and run them in parallel in the cloud. To set up a project in Screener is very simple. You basically add a new project, you fill in these two required fields, which is the title and the URL of your page. You add whatever browsers you want. We have them all available for you in the cloud. As well as if you want specific devices, we have integration with a company called Sauce Labs for iOS devices, Android, as well as specific versions of OS X and Windows. Once those are added, you can then add additional screen sizes. And then once those are added, you basically create recordings, and then away you go. So basically, you should be able to actually create your first test within 10 minutes without any setup, without any installation, without any configuration. So it's hopefully meant to be the simplest automated test that you can possibly run. And just so one example I want to show, using Battlefy as an example. So hopefully I'm logged in here. Okay, there we go. Is a more complex flow. And so for those who are not familiar with Battlefly, it's basically an esports tournament startup where you can create game tournaments with your friends. And so in order to create those tournaments, there is a kind of a 5-step wizard to go through to create these tournaments. And there's different types of tournaments. So there's like round robin, elimination round, things like that. So what Battlefly was doing is manually running through these flows each time. But now they're using Screener. They basically automate those flows. Excuse me. So this is going to run through is an entire flow. And you'll see as it runs through the flow, it's taking screenshots at every state. Excuse me. And now that's done, you can be able to see it in Screener. And Screener has captured all these different states as it's been entering content. And a user can verify that all the content is correct. And then once they verify, then it continues to track changes from that point on. So just to reiterate some of the major benefits, Screener allows you to test faster because you're only testing changes. It tracks exactly where changes are. It automates state capturing and organizing of those states. It allows you to test across browsers, resolutions, and devices, in the cloud, in parallel. It improves quality by improving team collaboration, by tracking QA progress, by ensuring that no states or changes are ever missed, and allowing multiple stakeholders from your team to quickly smoke test across browsers. So not just testers, but also developers, designers, clients, etc. And at the end of the day, to reduce cost. So hopefully to make your team test faster, iterate faster, and deliver faster. And that's Screener. So our website's there, screener.io. And any questions?
Can I have early access?
Let's talk. Let's talk after. Yeah, for sure.
How does it know, like in the form you showed there, you have different types of content to put in the form fields. How do you set that up? So, does it just randomize it? Or?
It doesn't randomize it. Yeah. So like it basically treats it like you're a manual tester, and so you would put in, whatever content that you would typically put in as you're testing it.
Okay. Do you set that up like first or something, and then save it?
Yeah. So the easiest way to get started actually is basically to just add a bunch of pages within here, and then Screener will just go and take screenshots of all of them.
Okay.
And then once you're set up, then you would go into Recorder and create kind of more detailed flows.
Right.
Which click on your tabs, click on your accordions, open your dialogues, input your forms, log in, all that type of stuff.
Okay.
And then once you save that, then Screener will then again build that into your tests.
Right.
Cool.
So one of the problems I have is, can you actually, well, you said you don't need code. What if you actually like getting code?
Yeah. So that's one feature that we're adding. We're targeting a lot of companies that haven't written a lot of automated tests, but there are some companies that we've been talking to that want some type of API or SDK to integrate into their Selenium tests, and so that's coming.
On the back end, this is Selenium?
Yes, this is using Selenium WebDriver. That's right. Yeah. We will be releasing something probably next month or two, which will allow you to integrate this into your Selenium tests. And then it will basically send the screenshots to our cloud server, which will then be accessible through our SaaS tool.
I'm curious about pricing, but I don't know if you've sort of established that or if that's still
Yeah. We're still working on the actual pricing, but we're planning on having two types of packages.
Okay.
So basically our starter package, our pricing is going to be based on virtual machines. So basically every browser, every screen size that you launch is going to be a virtual machine. So that's basically what you purchase. And so it's not based on users, so you can have as many users using it as you want. Our first pricing package, which is our starter, is going to be basically 30 test runs per virtual machine that you purchase. and there'll be a price for that. And then our other package is the unlimited package, which allows you to do as many test runs as you want. And then you simply pay for the number of VMs that you want to run in the cloud. Yeah.
And just one other thing.
Sure.
Is there sort of like a mode or method that you'd like to receive any kind of feedback, just based on like the demo?
Oh, yeah, for sure. On the footer of every page, there should be a send feedback button. And yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so yeah, if you have any feedback for us, definitely, yeah, we're open to that. Oh yeah, one question that, oh sorry, go ahead.
How do you handle states, for example, like if you already used a particular user once, you can't have the same user again. So if it's replayed, it wouldn't work, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah,
So you have to set the database up on a known state.
So what some people have been doing, like one of the things you can do is actually inject JavaScript. And so what Battlefy was doing, they were actually just generating random usernames and then just using jQuery to just input that into the form. And so for that particular step, that's how they randomized it. And then they log in with that random username. And so that's one way of doing it. But yeah, that's actually something that has been requested to us, is to have some kind of built-in way to randomly generate some type of string to be used for logins and things like that.
How complex of a UI can it manage? So for example, a calendar app where there might be time slots at different things.
Yep, so like, I mean, the Battlefy one actually has, let's see, so it has like this kind of autocomplete type thing. Yeah, it has, here it has this little date picker, it has a calendar, and so it's been able to handle all these things. And this app is built using Angular. We've done Ember apps, we've done lots of different types of frameworks. It's all worked so far. Yeah, so right now, like we're in private beta. We've been testing it on 3 types of clientele. So one is digital agencies, another is startups like Battlefy, another is large enterprises. So for example, EA Games is one of our beta customers. And so it's being used on different types, like a very diverse set of websites and web applications and mobile web applications. And so,
What if it was just a single person that wanted to test it out and just put in their main URL? Will it crawl the site automatically?
it does not crawl the site. Yeah, and the reason is because, like, say you have a blog and you have 1,000 blog posts, but they all look the same.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Yeah, so
Seems too much processing power on that.
yeah, it will just take a lot of time, and you won't get a lot of value from it, and you'd have a lot of screenshots to deal with. So basically, like what I recommend is basically input your templates, and you're only going to have maybe 30 or 40 of those at the most. And then obviously, if you have an application, then you need to input all that data and create that recording. And then once it's there, then you simply iterate.
Well, I noticed that sites like Optimizely, they kind of encourage the user just to immediately put in a URL to try it out.
Right.
So it might be cool, if you only crawl like the first 10 pages, for us, like when you actually finally launch and say, here's a test, just put in your URL, and then
Right.
show them some visual bugs across their site, like on
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. So like one question that I haven't gotten yet, but like you might ask later, is how do you test internal websites? Because sometimes you might have something behind a firewall. So Screener actually has something called a secure tunnel client. And so what you do is you basically install this on your server, and we have clients for Linux, Windows, and OS X. Basically, instead of opening up a port on your firewall, it basically creates a reverse proxy to our VMs over SSL, and it allows us access to test your servers. So, in case you're wondering.
What about stress testing and response time?
So it currently does not test performance. That is something that we might add in the future, as well as testing, say, JavaScript errors that may pop up. So it currently doesn't do that either, but that's definitely something we plan to do. Because I mean, once you have all this set up and it's crawling through your site and going through all these flows like a real person would, then there's a lot of information that we can gather from that, such as network traffic, performance. We can do load testing on it. We can check for JavaScript bugs that pop up. And so yeah, those are all definitely things that we plan to do down the line.
When do you think you launch?
We're in private beta right now, and so we're hoping to kind of officially launch publicly in the summer, so maybe July kind of timeframe. Yeah.
But anyone interested can sign up for the beta on our website.
Yeah. So let's go to scooter.io.
Go to the website and sign up.
Yeah. Don't go to scooter.com. Totally different. Scooter.io. And yeah, there's a sign up form there to request early access, and then we'll be in contact with you, and then yeah, set something up for you guys.
Is IO a popular domain extension these days?
For startups, yeah.
Startups use?
I found it to be, yeah.
What is it? Does it stand for something or is it?
Well, it actually stands for Indian Ocean. But I mean, it sounds like input-output, so it sounds techy, so. Yeah, yeah. Great.
Thanks.
Okay.